Thanks for joining us again on the Catholic Apps podcast. I'm here once again this week with my good friend Tanya. Hi, Tanya.
Hi, Carrie.
How are things going this week?
Oh, today's been a long week, but it's going pretty good.
Good. How did the app go? Well, I gave you a podcast last week. So how did the actually why don't we get into the questions of the week this week? So
Yes. You had me pick these beforehand. But I'm going with the would you rather angle to these questions. Now,
all right.
My rules for would you rather are that you cannot ask any other questions. You just have to go with your instinct. You have to pick one or the other.
Okay. Sure.
Don't think about it. Just answer.
Okay.
Okay. Number one. Would you rather spend the night in a luxury hotel room or camping surrounded by beautiful scenery?
Camping.
Luxury hotel. Surprise, surprise. All right. Next. Would you rather go into the past and meet your ancestors or go into the future and meet your great-great-grandchildren?
Oh, I'll go into the future. I'm all about moving forward, so I'll go to the future.
I feel like this one ties into the podcast a little bit, like the one that I listened to.
Yeah.
Because we're in the Old Testament and it's going way back. Anyway.
So finally, you would go back?
Oh, what would I do? I would go back. I think.
Yeah.
I don't live in the past by any means, but I think it'd be cool to meet some of my ancestors.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Okay. To find out where I get these good looks from, you know what I mean? Okay, finally, would you rather have a coffee with Father Mike Schmitz or a drink with Jeff Cavins?
I would have a coffee with Father Mike, for sure.
I don't think that guy needs more coffee. He speaks on double speed.
Yeah, I know. It's very fast.
Yeah, it's great. Well, thanks for participating in my Would You Rather.
Well, are you going to answer that last question?
Yeah,
a drink or a coffee?
I think it would still be Father Mike. Yeah, I'd be with you on the coffee with Father Mike.
Yeah, you'd have to drink coffee just to keep up.
Thanks.
Not that you're slow, but that he's just so fast.
Yes.
You'd be talking so fast.
Got it. I wonder what it's like. I've walked by him one time at a conference.
By Father Mike?
Yep. He's not as tall as you would think.
Oh.
Hope he's not listening. But he's very charming in the way he walked by me.
Was it like, oh, someone famous walking by me? To act natural, or was it like
natural?
Could I have your photo and autograph my Bible?
No, it was that. So it was at one of the Focus conferences, Seek, and he was processing by me with about 300 other priests.
So he wasn't like just casually walking by. He was in a liturgical
procession. Mind you, I think I probably did walk by him at another time, and anyway, I mean, I don't know. Cool. What do you do when you encounter celebrity types?
I don't know. I kind of have one of two reactions. I'm either like really bold and I'll just go up to them and just start talking to them, or I'll like sneak off at a distance that I can take pictures without being noticed. And take lots of pictures. But I haven't really been around celebrities, so
it's not the circles you roll in. Hey,
that's not the circles I roll in.
I mean, you can edit this, so I'm just going to talk. So one time at a pub in Halifax, Jason Priestley of 90210 fame came in because he films a show not too far outside of Halifax, and my friends that I was with, like Phil was saying, like, he's like, don't bother him. Let's let him be normal. Like, who cares? He's just another person. I'm like, yeah, totally. Phil and his wife left, and my friend Adam was like, do you want to meet him? I'm like, totally. So Adam went up. He's like, "Hey, buddy, how's it going? My friend wants her picture with you." And I'm like, "Hi." And he's like, "Totally." And then I was wearing heels. I was also taller than him, and then the picture looked like he was more excited to meet me than I him. It was the best. I will send you
Oh,
that picture. You could even put it on the podcast. You could put it on the show notes. Tanya with Jason
awesome.
Priestley,
Send that
but
over.
not but not Father Mike Schmitz. What's wrong with me?
I don't know. I
Um,
don't know. But I mean, like priests are not going to be the famous people that you run over and get your picture with. Maybe the Pope, I guess, but
I
that'd be the
guess
yeah, I
he must
guess.
be so used to it by now, eh?
Yeah. So I'd love to hear how last week's app went. It was a podcast recommendation. It was the Bible in a Year with Father Mike Schmitz. Since we've been talking about him so much, that's why he kind of came up in conversation. But what did you think?
What did I think? Okay, so it's been good because I had to do a 6-hour drive. So I had lots of time to catch up on a few of those ones. I've also appreciated that there has been a number of like daily readings that are in the Old Testament. And so I have really liked that there's greater context relating to some of the daily readings right now. So that's been really good. Um, yeah, like I find it formative. Like it's helpful for my spiritual life, I would say.
Awesome. So why don't we go through the ratings and you can give it a stars out of 5 here. So price, it's free. So I usually give that 5 out of 5 when it's free. So yeah, 5 out of 5 for you too.
Yeah, because it's free.
Okay. And performance, did you encounter any glitches or anything like that?
Oh, no,
Okay. Well,
no.
that's good because it's an Apple designed app. But
Oh, yeah.
well, I think we're going to skip over the design because it is an Apple designed app. But how about usability? Did you find like you were on an iPhone, right?
Yes.
And did you encounter like, was it easy to use? Was it easy to figure out how to get the podcast and download it and subscribe? And
Yes. However, and this is probably, Tanya being an amateur, but I wasn't listening chronologically. I know. But like for example, when I was listening to it, it would go in reverse order. It would go like from 27 to 26 to 25. It wouldn't, I don't know. Maybe it's just a podcast thing or I don't
I
know.
think there's a setting for that you can get it to ignore that, to ignore to ignore past ones that you haven't listened to. But what it's trying to do is catch you up to like all like it'll play in consecutive order the ones that you've missed when you after you've subscribed to something. So
Got it.
there is a setting. I can't remember where it is in the podcast app. They also changed one of the words in that app from subscribe to follow. So now when you go into the podcast app, you don't subscribe to podcasts, you follow them. They were having issues with people thinking that you had to pay for podcasts, and all
Oh,
podcasts are free. So now it's just following. So if the listeners get into the podcast app and they find that the word subscribe is no longer there, then the last rating is Catholicity. Father Mike, how do you find?
but did you find it usable?
Yeah, I found it very usable, but I've been using podcasts for a few years, so I've kind of grown with some of the glitches and stuff of the issues and the way that they've changed the app. Like I've just kind of adapted to it, so it's hard for me to kind of give a
Got it.
yeah.
Not your first rodeo, if you
Not
will.
my first rodeo, but I have used other ones. Like I have followed on Spotify, and I found that was also just as easy to follow
Oh,
somebody, and then it would show up as just like something else to listen to in the mix of music and stuff like that. So
okay. That's helpful actually to know. Catholicity. So it's not Catholic, right? Like, um, what are we asking when we're asking about Catholicity?
well, some of the apps that we review are specifically Catholic, and they have very Catholic content, and some of the apps that we'll look at are more Christian based, or they might not have anything Catholic about them, but you could use it for Catholic things.
Okay.
So
Okay, so I would say with this, like, I trust the source, right? Like, I feel like when he's giving his reflections after the readings, I'm going to learn something solid about the Catholic faith, um, and how the church understands various, I guess, difficult things in particularly in the Old Testament, because there is some rocky stuff, let me tell you. And so um, I very much trust, I guess, Father Mike's insights on the readings, and yeah, I give it a 5 Hail Marys out of 5, I guess. I don't know. What's
Yeah, I would give it a 5 out of 5. Definitely, it's very Catholic, and the reflections that he gives at the end of each of the podcast I found very helpful to kind of keep things in context, and that's
Mhm.
what I would give it a good rating for that. That it's not just because there are other podcasts that are read the Bible in a year, but there's no commentary or anything like that as part of it, and I found that just that like 5 to 8 minutes he gives at the end really gives context to some things that I didn't understand or didn't catch when I was listening to it.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Did you okay, so the way he does it, like he does Old Testament, another part of the Old Testament, and then one of the like poetry books, right? Right now, that's how he's
Yeah,
doing
that's how he's following it. So he's following the Adventure Bible, which Jeff Cavins put together, and so it goes through chronologically how the Bible would be chronologically, not the way it's put together as books in ordering. Because, like, for example, like Deuteronomy and Leviticus, I think have a lot of repeated stories in them. Same with when you're reading the beginning books like Genesis, and there's some stories that are repeated and it's not chronological, and so he's putting them in an order that would be more chronological than just reading it cover to cover. And I really find that helpful because like the few times that I've tried to read the Bible, it's been like, didn't I hear this story? Like, didn't Aaron already do this with the golden calf? And why is it like it's slightly different? So did this happen twice? And when really it's just the same story, but because of the ordering of the Bible, you wouldn't like I wouldn't pick up on that unless I was reading a commentary.
it. There you go.
There you go.
There we go. Okay, Carrie, what do you got for me this week?
All right. So in three. So this week we're going to be reviewing an app called the 1 Minute Pause, and it's by the New York Times bestselling author John Eldredge and his team. And you may have heard he wrote Wild at Heart and Captivating, and those books are bestsellers. So it's
His
based on.
wife Stacy actually wrote Captivating.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Stacy with an SI. Sorry.
All right.
Jazzy.
So it's based on his latest book, which is Get Your Life Back, and it invites you into the simple practice of releasing everything to God and restoring your union with God. So that's kind of where this app is coming from. So have you been able to find it on your phone there?
I just opened it up and it started talking at me. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. So he does do it. It is a video and audio based app, and that video and audio it kind of gets you into the app and lets you know how this is going to work.
Okay.
So
Okay, so I guess I'll just give it a shot over the next week.
yeah. So can I give you the gist of what how it's going to work?
Yes,
Maybe
please do.
that'll help. Okay. So the gist of it is that he has some meditations, and it tracks how many times a day or how many times a week you do the meditations. And the meditations are just like an audio. The video is pretty minimal. I don't watch the video when I use the app. I just have it going through I just have it going through the headphones or beside the bed. And I just listen to it. So it's kind of like a guided meditation. That would be the best way I could describe it.
Okay, I'm into it. What time of day do you recommend I listen to? Oh, wait a minute. It's a few times during the day, right?
You can set reminders within it, and in that beginning opening that you saw there, he tells you how to do that, and maybe if your life is in need of having something like bringing more structure and bringing more union with God and what you're doing every day, maybe you'll need to do it a little bit more or maybe a little bit less.
Okay, I'll let you know.
All right, that sounds great.
Well, this has been fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I guess I'll see you next week.
You will see me next week, and I will get your thoughts on the 1 minute pause, a simple way to reconnect with God and build your union with God.
Very good. Hey, maybe, I don't know, is there a place where listeners can like type their reviews, I guess, of, for example, the podcast, like the Bible in a Year podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. On CatholicApps.com, I have all of these reviews that I've done. And you can also add your thoughts at the bottom by commenting on the reviews and adding your thoughts on it. So listeners can visit CatholicApps.com and let us know what you think of the apps that we review.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Later.
See you next week.